When we asked Dr. Suzanne Smith what she wanted to be when she was growing up, there was no hesitation: a teacher and an engineer. Born to parents George W. Weaver and Jean C. Weaver of Morgantown, West Virginia, the idea of being an engineer and a teacher came naturally to Suzanne. Her grandfather and her father were both engineers and teachers, and both had a keen interest in aviation. Inspired by her middle school teacher, Mrs. Southard, to science, Suzanne kept a detailed logbook of the local caterpillars, moths, and butterflies, and would make sketches of the more prominent specimens in the neighborhood. As she grew older, her interest in science, and in particular engineering, would blossom. While attending South Carolina's Clemson University, she realized that she had a knack for explaining how things worked in a way that made her a sought-after tutor to her fellow students. It was that experience that made her realize that she could be a teacher and an engineer. She finished her studies at Clemson with a BS and Master's in Engineering Mechanics, and in 1980 accepted a position with Harris Corporation, Government Aerospace Systems Division in Melbourne, Florida. Her first assignment? Developing computer models that would validate the effect of vibrations to the Fine Guidance System, FGS, electronics of the Hubble Space Telescope to assess its launch survivability. The FGS is an optical sensor used to provide pointing information for the spacecraft as a scientific instrument for astrometric science. It can detect when the telescope drifts even a minuscule amount and will return the spacecraft to its target. The concern for this very sensitive instrument? Could it survive the intense vibration of the launch and still do its job? Suzanne was tasked with finding that out. In 1988, Suzanne received her Ph.D. from Virginia Tech and began working there as a visiting assistant professor in the Department of Engineering Science and Mechanics. Her Ph.D. research was funded by NASA to determine the feasibility of using vibration measurements to locate change in the backbone structure of the newly announced International Space Station. In 1990, Suzanne would come to Kentucky and begin her long career with the university. In 1992, Smith received the prestigious National Science Foundation Young Investigator Award to research vibration interactions in large flexible structures like the solar arrays on the ISS. Smith started the new century continuing her research with unique, flexible structures and testing in extreme or unusual environments with both large and small companies. One Kentucky project applied aerospace research methods to understand cable vibrations of the Maysville and Owensboro stay cable bridges and their susceptibility to the potentially damaging rain-wind oscillations phenomenon. Another project modeled the deployment of inflatable boom spacecraft validated with microgravity experiments conducted by students, the weightless Wildcats. Smith and a team of faculty researchers then began working on what would become the 5-year Big Blue Mars airplane program to demonstrate the feasibility of inflatable wings for aircraft to explore Mars while providing an amazing multi-disciplinary career-changing experience for over 300 engineering students. The team designed 4 different wings and deployment experiments, successfully conducting them at altitudes between 60,000 and 95,000 feet. These were cited for increasing the technology readiness level of deployable wings for planetary exploration. The achievement led to the industrial collaborations from 2009 to 2012 that advanced deployable wing technologies for various sponsors. In 2010, Smith was selected to lead NASA's investments to develop aerospace research and workforce under the NASA Kentucky Space Grant and EPSCoR, the established program to simulate competitive research programs. Investing more than $20 million in Kentucky, these programs provide amazing experiences for students, along with crucial startup support for early career facilities across Kentucky. The benefits for Kentucky include a high-tech workforce, research expertise, intellectual property, and aerospace startups, including Space Tango. Today, Smith and a multidisciplinary team that has grown to span 6 states are developing unmanned aircraft systems and technologies to address critical scientific questions in atmospheric physics. Precision meteorology, accurate local scale forecasting will impact lives and livelihoods in Kentucky, across the U.S., and worldwide. Even with all the projects and experiences Suzanne has had, she considers her work on the Hubble to be one of the high points. She's very proud of the work that she does as a teacher. From her early experiences as a tutor at Clemson, she believes in working with her students and getting to know their interests. When she teaches dynamics, she will use examples that are related to the interests the students already have to help drive real-work examples of the subject matter. She strives to inspire her students to learn. Smith's husband Bill is a Kentucky native and a University of Kentucky graduate. He's a professor at the UK Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. They have one daughter, Virginia, who's a Ph.D. student in aerospace engineering at Virginia Tech. Suzanne understands being inspired, and on the morning of April 12, 1981, she and her husband Bill were in Cocoa Beach, Florida, to watch the launch of the Space Transportation System 1, the Space Shuttle Columbia's first mission. She still remembers the sound of the launch, even being miles away. They could hear the roar of the engine as the shuttle lifted away. But as the engine noise subsided, it was the next sound that inspired her. It was applause. From up and down the beach, the crowd was clapping for what they had just witnessed, another step from mankind into space. It is therefore fitting that Dr. Suzanne W. Smith be enshrined in the official Aviation Hall of Fame of the Commonwealth of Kentucky.